We're on. You're live. Oh, man.
That'll only make sense if you watch Friday's show. Welcome, everybody.
Yes, welcome indeed.
Let me just check the audio's working, Daniel. It is.
It is. Magic.
Green light.
Magic.
How's the framing? Not too bad, mate.
Really?
Well, we'll have a look. We'll see
Okay,
see on the laptop screen, but... Welcome, everybody. Welcome to viewer comments and questions. Monday, the 22nd of June. If you live in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the longest day of the year, was yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, 21st of June.
It was still light at like 10:30.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Sunset at 9:38, I think, and rose at 4:27 or something.
Okay.
Something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I have to get up at 4 o'clock most mornings to let my cat out,
Yeah.
which is really boring.
As soon as there's any light, my dog jumps up on the bed and he stands on my chest and just sort of starts licking my face.
Yeah. Yeah, a dog's allowed upstairs then?
Oh,
In your
yeah.
house?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's ace. There we go. That's not too bad. It's a little bit... actually, no, it's on the wonk.
Yeah. The thing is, the back of the screen doesn't tell you the truth, does it?
No.
That's the main problem. So, who have we got today then? I'm just going to log in. Oh, no, I haven't got my there they are. My eyes are
Yes.
so bad.
If, roll call.
Yeah.
Where you're all from? Let's see where you're all from. So we've got Kansas City,
Yay.
Clearwater, Florida. Hello from Swindon. Oh my goodness.
Ah, Swin Vegas.
Heavens to Betsy. Wow.
Swinkio.
Phil kicks off the day. Oh my goodness. That's amazing, Phil. Thank you. Wow. that's so generous,
Atlanta,
buddy.
Baltimore, says Benjamin. On the
LA, Los
streets
Angeles,
of
rainy and humid northeast Ohio, Salisbury, UK. Wow, I watched the Salisbury poisonings
did
thing.
you?
Oh man,
The Novichok thing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
They did such a great job.
So sad that. Just, yeah.
Hi guys, Ian Combs checking in with a pronouncer. Scott's last name is pronounced with the same O as in home or loan.
Oh, Combs.
Combs. There we go.
Like what you don't comb your hair with, Dan.
That's exactly right. Good morning from Alabama, from Alex Huffman. Hello. Cheers from Chile, Ricardo.
Chile.
Very nice. Got South Dakota. Hello, guys, from the studio in Sweden. Jonas, I'm not even going to attempt it, but thank you, Jonas. Hello from the sunny sofa in Stowmarket, Blackburn, UK.
La Suède, 12 points.
Braveheart, hi from Glasgow. I love Edinburgh. I'd move there tomorrow. I've never been to Glasgow, and I was talking to the Biffy boys. I said, you got to go to Glasgow. So really have to get there. I love Scotland. I absolutely love it.
Yep.
Here we go. Peterborough, UK. Oh, DAEGU is somewhere in South Korea. That is amazing. Tasmania, Australia. Lovely.
Maker of my favourite footwear, Daniel, don't you know?
From Tassie.
Blundstone boots.
Very good.
If you ever want to send us any, I'd be very grateful to receive them.
Sydney, Australia, but London these days from the Great Dell. Stratham, Dublin, Northern Ireland. Wow. Greetings from Massachusetts. Portland, Oregon. Edinburgh too. That's awesome. Wow. The Lake District. Very nice. New Orleans. Edinburgh. Greetings from Virginia, from Minnesota. This is, oh man, so good. Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. From Belgium, Antwerp. Wow. Canada. From Vancouver Island. Fret Fanatic says, I get interference from neighbours' shortwave radio. Help.
Huh.
Wow.
What are they listening to shortwave for? You should report them.
Right. Lucas Bailey says, hi everyone. I'm looking for a power supply that will cover HS effects. Victory V4 on probably 2 pedals with 500 milliamp. HX is 500. Victory is 800. There's lots.
HS effects?
HS. So the HX, the stomp, the HX Stomp, and they're very, very hungry. But there's still quite a few. Yeah.
Phil Dyer.
Just said that. Yeah. I know.
Phil, that's crazy, man. Thank you very much, and thank you, Blimey
Yeah,
O'Reilly.
I know.
You beautiful human. That's super kind of you. Blimey.
It's amazing. I know. Well, where to start? Yes, Lucas. Sorry.
So what do you need? Do you need like 500 plus for the HX?
Well, you need. Yeah. So I think the HX is more like a 1200. It's like really
Is
heavy.
it? So there's no normal power supply that will reasonably give you that, is there? Zoomer, maybe the top Zoomer.
I think maybe, and I think there's a new. I'm sure if you look at the Seox, or I'm sure there's a couple out there because the HX Stomps is such a popular thing now. There'll be a bunch of guys, making things. Whoa. Okay. Wow. Well, thank you, everyone. We're kicking up for the bank. Thank you, Frank Fusilier.
To finish that off, though, what you need to do is list all your pedals in terms of their milliamp current draw, their voltage requirement, their polarity. So you want to go for VCP, if you've ever watched our old show. Voltage, current, polarity, and isolation. If you list all those things out and check them off against the power supply you're thinking about, you'll know if it'll work or not. The odd man out, as Dan is alluding to, is probably the HX Stomp, which probably will need to be powered on its own dedicated power supply.
Yeah, there are ways around it. There are ways around it. Generally, those sort of supplies, they actually don't draw. They have a massive what called startup current. So to get the thing going, it takes a lot of current. But actually, once they're going, they don't draw that much.
Yeah.
So.
Talking of getting going, I can turn the disco lights off now. Now we've done our Impy Dance.
Pedal Pal Effects. Hi, Mick and Dan. Glad to make it for this live chat. Please stay safe and cheers from Venezuela. Nice to see you.
Thank you from Venezuela.
Frank Fusilier. Thank you, mate. That's most generous of you.
Yeah, Frank Fusilier. Who else have we got? Tom Hand.
Tom Hand.
Hope the TPS team and all TPS viewers are well. Wishing everyone happy and healthy days ahead. We absolutely concur, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you for saying something positive. Daniel Webb. Hi, Dan. Thanks for that. I watched the Ed O'Brien episode earlier. What a cool guy. How about a show on creating ambient textures like him? How to play the pedals. That's a really good idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens is when Dan and I do anything like that, the ambient people come down on us like a ton of bricks.
You guys.
Yeah. You guys suck. But I think in the context of our friends, we could do it and not feel too hammered by them.
Absolutely.
Yep,
that's awesome.
Would be a great idea.
Kester Roper, a patron's greeting from unglamorous Halsowen.
Halsowen. In the Midlands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but it's a lovely greeting nonetheless.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kester.
And Laney comes from Halsowen, doesn't it? Maybe.
Really? Yeah. Chris James, you guys are just the best. Brighten my day without fail. Very grateful. We're grateful for you, Chris. That's very kind, mate.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wilf Memot. Blimey, thank you, Will. Hey, guys. Just wondering if you were going to do a pick and mix with all of the broadcasts. Really interested to see how they combine with overdrives. Now, that's interesting. Have we got a single broadcast?
I've got one.
So we've got the single one, we've got the dual one,
yep,
and we've got the Ariel Posen one.
Yes.
Is there another one that we should know about? There's 3. That's a great show.
It's a great show. Yeah, because they're so good. I think that was a real turning point for us, the broadcast. It sort of, we had never really heard a pedal do what that did before when we heard it. It was just amazing.
It was definitely the beginning of my turn away from mid-hump TS style overdrive.
And going for more transistor.
Enjoying the hairy edges, as it were. Yes, great idea, Wilf. Mark Frankel. Hi, Mark, and thank you. Gents, the 4 pillars of fuzz. Where does the power boost overdriver fit in, and where in the chain do you recommend it to get the Davy G thing? Okay, Mark is talking about, we've got one here somewhere. Colour Sound Power Boost, also called the overdriver in the UK, in the US, wasn't it?
Yep.
We did a show on these. We also have the little orange one there, the TrueFi one, which is also excellent. Insane thing, like absolutely crazy headroom.
Yep.
And clean boost at one end, and then really beautiful fuzz at the other.
Mm-hmm.
In original form like this. This one is a Stu Castledine one, I think, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Really does need a master volume.
Yeah.
If you're going to put it into any amp with headroom. So where would you put that, Dan, if you were going for Davy G?
I think I would put that more in the realms of overdrive as opposed to fuzz. I think he used that. That doesn't, you know, I don't hear that the same way I hear fuzz.
No.
It's a different thing. But yeah, Davy G. Boy, oh boy.
Can I make a educated guess?
Yeah.
Actually, I'll make an uneducated guess. So Davy G used high watts, right?
He did.
And he probably had them pretty loud.
Yes.
But that is a massive headroom amplifier.
Yes.
If you hit that with a big muff, it can be a glorious thing, but it could also be a pretty horrible, spiky, nasty thing.
Can be, yes.
If you put that after it,
yeah,
and you
shape it a bit.
You hit the big muff into that.
Yep.
I think that would work.
Yep, totally. So it's also a conversation about gain structure. And it also depends on how you play as well. A different player might find that with the same rig, it sounds better for them a different area in the chain. It depends on your dynamics and all that stuff. So you have to try these things. But I think after a muff, that into that, that's a really good shout.
If you haven't bought one yet, Mark, the TrueFi color driver
is awesome.
Really highly recommended because of that master volume on it. And now it's also in a smaller box.
It's really good.
With all due respect to everyone at Colour Sound, but it is superb.
Yep.
TrueFi, TRU-FI.
David Rustard says, an advance for Mick's book mentioned last week, and a shout out for Blake Mills' new record, Mutable Set. Cheers.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I wondered why Blake Mills has been all over Instagram over the last couple of days.
Okay.
He's obviously got a new album out.
Wonderful. Well,
which is good by us.
I've worn through my copy of Hi Ho.
Yeah.
Which is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
So I'm very much looking forward to that.
I'm going to buy that on vinyl, I think. Mutable Set, Blake Mills. If you don't know Blake Mills, please listen to him. He is an astonishing singer-songwriter, producer, works with all kinds of awesome humans.
Yep.
And is just a stellar addition to the world of this music
Absolutely.
thing that we do. And thanks for the advance on the book, David. I am going to write it. I've decided I am going to write it.
Wow.
Don't know when, but there's a bit of study to do before it.
Michael Forst, great show. Been watching some of your old videos. Dan, do you still have the Flying V? No, I don't. I had to sell the Flying V to buy my Les Paul. I caught a sight of myself in the mirror one day with the Les Paul and just went, you can't pull that off.
Flying V, you mean?
The Flying V, sorry,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
So you can't pull that off. And
I
then
think that was hasty.
Yeah, maybe. I tell you what, there's some sounds with the V that I can't get with any other guitar.
Unique thing, isn't it?
It really, really is.
I was having a trip down memory lane last week. My wife and I were talking. Catherine and I were talking about Shaka Khan, and I remember this this video with BB King and Friends in 1987, I think it was, or 88, and Shaka's on there singing a bunch of tunes, and I watched the opening, and BB opens up with everyone want to know why I have the blues,
right?
And he's like, Mr. Albert King, and Albert King stood next to him and is like giving it with the full on the Flying V, and then he goes, Mr. Paul Butterfield, Mr. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Mr. Eric Clapton, and he just introduces all these like massive legends, and so a shout out for Flying V's and Albert King, with Albert King inlaid on the fingerboard, obviously.
I love that.
Sorry,
that's so great.
Inlaid on the fingerboard. Simon Mastromateo, hi Simon, and thank you very kindly for that. Love you guys. There's only a couple of channels on YouTube that make me truly happy. You guys are way up there with Bukavac and Arto. Cheers from Montreal. Well, there's praise. Yeah,
I think we ended now.
I don't think we have the planet brains of Bukavac and Beato, but that's very kind of you to say.
Bruce Lake says, power my humdinger with an isolator or a distributor. Either will work. But if you've got, go for an isolator, but a distributor will be fine. There you go.
Chris James, what are your thoughts on sending vocal dynamic mic to a vintage Super Reverb? Mic choices for vocals and on the amp, besides adding a slap delay, would a compressor pedal like a Cali 76 work? So what you're saying, you're using a vocal dynamic to do what with into a Super Reverb? To sing into?
Thoughts on sending a vocal dynamic mic?
Yeah.
Well, just to mic the amp, I think he's talking about, isn't he?
If you're talking about sending the mic into a Super Reverb, then what you'll get is
Oh yes, I see.
a serious attenuation of high and low end compared with a full range signal. Could sound pretty cool actually, especially if you put some overdrive on it and tremolo. You'd end up getting one of those pseudo phone box type voices. Could be a really cool thing. And of course, plenty of people use guitar amps as harmonica amps for years, so it exists in that world really well.
Interesting.
Mic choices for vocals and on the amp. For vocals, we'd always go with just an ordinary large diaphragm condenser. So anything Rode NT1, I think it's called, SE, Sontronics Do One. Basically anything that looks broadly like a Neumann U47 or a TLM 103, something that looks broadly like this.
Right.
Is a large diaphragm condenser, and they're always good for all-round vocals. Can work great on guitar amps too. And then for a guitar amp, all the usual choices: SM57, any kind of ribbon you can get your hand on.
So are condensers always phantom powered?
Yes.
They are. Okay.
The correct term is capacitor. The German word was condenser microphone.
Okay.
With a K.
Okay.
But as Sound on Sound magazine keeps pointing out, they're not condensers, they're capacitor microphones because they use a capacitor.
Okay.
I don't understand.
Okay.
Don't understand. That's what Sound on Sound says. And they never call this a condenser microphone. They always call it a capacitor microphone.
Okay.
But every single mic website in the world calls it a condenser microphone.
Yeah, yeah.
So who knows? Maybe there's some knowledge out there that could enlighten us.
Amazing. Right. Oh, where did it go?
But yes, a slap delay and a compressor with a vocal dynamic mic into a vintage Super Reverb. You're going to be
awesome.
Yeah, you're going to be into sort of movie soundtrack territory there, I would say.
Lovely.
Yeah.
All Things Weatherly says TPS Love. With all the amps you guys feature, I've never seen you cover a Bogner. Any chance of that in future, or thoughts on Bogner? Hearing Uncle Tom Bukovac, Little Tommy, playing through the Bogner on his show, has made me think, we should, because he gets some amazing sounds out of that.
I played a Goldfinger 45 once, and it was just an astonishingly good amp.
We don't really know.
I don't know
met
anyone
Reinhardt.
there.
I've met him once.
Yeah.
But I don't really have any contact with any Bogner guys. But we should reach out and see what we can.
Yeah, we should.
find.
We should. I'm, personally less interested in the high gain stuff, just because it's not really mine and Dan's wheelhouse, as you would say in the US. But certainly some of that lower gain stuff. The Goldfinger 45 was an exceptional amp.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
very nice.
That's very good. Let's get them
Michael
on the radar.
Gleason. I grabbed a Harlot to go with my Kingsley Page. My word, Kingsley. The most open, dynamic, toneful pedals ever. My 80s TS 808 and Harlot is heaven. King of Tone and Duelist are jealous but remain on the board. I might have to do a demo vid. Please do, Michael. That's that you've got blooming overdrive pedal royalty you're talking about there, all the way through that. But yeah, Simon, Kingsley pedals.
There are not enough wonderful words to describe that guy and what he does.
And what you say about open, dynamic and toneful, I think given the kind of player that Simon is, I think that comes through so squarely in the stuff he designs.
Yeah.
Touch sensitive, massive dynamic range,
Yeah.
Very
it's
nice
all the
stuff.
things we love about valve amps are sort of there in his pedals. Daniel Webb, again, it says, have you used the Ed O'Brien Strat much? Thoughts? So I've used it, quite a bit. So I actually demoed most of the tracks on the EP with this.
Did you?
Because I just got it and I was loving it.
Fought with the bridge a bit.
I fought with, so the issue I'm still having is with the tuning with the bridge. So I've got a couple of other things to try. But yeah, it's like, what do they call it? The Collins Strat? Collins mix? The drink you have when you're not having a drink. This is the Strat you use when you're not using a Strat.
Yeah.
I need a thing to plug in. But anyway, the sustainer system on it is great, but you've got to learn how to play it, you know.
The only thing Stratty about it is the body shape, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, because it's very...
Everything else is different after that.
Yeah, you got, you know, mini humbucker in the bridge, sustainer system, massive, thick neck.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's wonderful. Here's the man himself.
Jordan Hine. Hello, Jordan. Thank you for that. I just put together a wet-dry rig using an Allen Sweet Spot paired with an HX Stomp and Power Cab. You should do a show on tube and modeler rigs. We would. We've got the basic problem we've got is the latency. So when you have a signal split and one side is digitally modeled and one side is straight analog, you get a latency created, and it's quite hard to fix. What you need to do is either delay the tube side. Well, that's the only thing you can do.
Yep.
So it's not really our world, but there's some great sounds in there. The one way around it, when we went to see Devin Townsend at Mono Valley, was it Mono Valley?
Yes.
Year or so ago, maybe a bit longer than that ago. Dev uses a wet-dry wet rig, so he'll have a valve amp dry in the middle, but his wet stuff is 100% wet.
Exactly.
So that latency thing goes away. If he was running the dry signal through the modelers and everything, then you get a latency problem and phase mismatch, and then it just sounds weird.
Yeah. So he's always got some sort of ambience going on. In actual fact, he's not even using amplifiers. He's using a PA, sort of either side of his valve amp, and that's where the delays and the textures are coming from. And he always has something in there, but there's never any dry sound through that. And that's a good option.
Yeah.
The way that we do it is a bit different in that you still have dry sound in both amplifiers, and you're getting the texture and the wonderful coupling thing that happens when you add the two amplifiers. It's a great way to find your own sound, as it were. I remember when I first saw Status Quo back in the 90s. So that's actually the only time I saw him.
We seem to have stopped honking people, so excuse us.
And he was using these really old Marshalls and old Voxes. And I was backstage and I heard this guitar sound, and it was the fattest thing I'd heard. And I thought, that's got to be some sort of Les. I didn't really know Quo at that time. I thought, that's got to be Les Pauls and stuff. And I went up there, it was Telecasters, Marshall, Vox.
Yeah.
And it was otherworldly.
But Francis and Rick both had an awesome guitar sound.
Yeah,
really awesome guitar
just
sound.
magic.
Michael Gleason. Michael, you're being exceptionally generous today. Thank you very much. Especially, not only are you being generous, but you're saying a big shout out to BV Ninja for all the support and doing the real work around here. Thank you for making it all happen. Yeah, we've got to say massive thanks to BV for moderating and just always being there and being a superb human being. Thank you very much.
Yeah, total legend. Small round of applause, BV.
Collectively around the interwebs. Mick, ever thought of comparing a set of OX4s versus your stock PAFs in your 335? Dan's LP sounds glorious with them, could be interesting, says Simon Mastro Matteo. A little development on the 335. I've got some Ron Ellis humbuckers incoming for it. I want to just knock it. It's a fantastic sounding guitar, but it doesn't sound like the old ones, which are a little more hollow and honky. Cleaned up a little bit better, not quite so throaty powerful.
Yeah, it's quite powerful, the guitar, but gee, it sounds awesome.
It really does. So it's a bit of a risky one, this, but that's what's going to happen to that guitar. I think we might have missed some super chats here, Dan.
The great Dell has said, any advice for someone looking to start a pedal company other than don't do it, you dumbass? Okay. The advice is, boy, the advice would be do it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Do it because you love it. Do it because there's something that you do that's sort of unique.
Yeah.
If you're doing it for the sole reason to make cash, you're in the wrong business. But if you do it because you love it and you do your own thing and there's integrity and passion, then that will draw people to what you do.
Yeah. I would urge you to watch two things. One is call up a browser on your computer and search for a TED talk by a guy called Simon Sinek.
Mm-hmm.
Dan told me about this a few years ago, and Simon does a talk called Start With Why.
Yep.
Start With Why by Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K. It's very inspirational and explains why some of the most successful big companies out there are as successful as they are. That's the first thing. The second thing, there is a little denim company in Cardigan, Wales called Hyatt.
Oh, yeah. That documentary is unreal.
H-I-U-T. It was the guy that used to have a company called Howie's, which was a famous sort of skate and lifestyle brand. And him and his wife, and they sold Howie's, and they've started Hyatt Denim. And they've re-energized the town of Cardigan, in a small way so far, by reintroducing denim, because there was a huge jeans factory there that was closed down.
Yep.
And when it closed down, it brought economic despair to the town. And this guy, I think his name is David Hyatt, and there's a little documentary on the Hyatt Denim site that explains what he did, why he did it. Watch those two things, and if you still want to start a pedal company after watching those two things, the very best of luck to you.
Yes.
And we're not trying to put you off. We're just saying watch them and see what you think.
Yep. Any business is really hard.
Yeah.
So you've got to be in it for the right reasons.
Even this business, which isn't really a business, we're 5 years in, and
5 years.
something like that. And I was saying to
Wow.
Catherine last week, it would be good if we could get home before 9 p.m. one night this week. That would be great.
Yep.
Which we're not moaning, because we are so privileged to be able to do this.
Yeah.
But any business, all the things you see from a business, the product, the marketing, whatever it is, the forward-facing stuff that you see, times that by 200, that's what happens behind the scenes.
Yep. Totally.
So
you've got to love it. You've got to just,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Bassman Dudge says, "Hi, loving my D&M drive. Thank you for buying that.
Awesome.
Especially with my green Renault. Now I want a higher gain stage, maybe a Rev G4. I play a Strat and an SG. The in and outs must be on top. So what would you suggest for a higher gain option to go well with the D&M drive and a green Rhino? In and outs must be on top."
I would say some sort of rat. I
Yeah.
think for high gain is a really good shout. What's the what's it called? The jam pedals. Is that on top? Or is it side?
No, I think they're all side, aren't
Right,
they, Jan?
okay.
My question to you, Bassman, is what kind of overdrive do you like? Do you like it really tight and smooth and modern? In which case, I think the Rev stuff is a really brilliant shout.
Mm.
Or do you like it vintage and gnarly and ugly around the edges? In which case, Thorpe Warthog.
Thorpe Warthog's a really good shout. Actually, I'm gonna Thorpe Warthog is killer. Would that do high gain?
That is unbelievable.
Right.
Cornerstone Gladio will do high gain if you stack them both into one another. Actually, JHS double barrel or the Sweet Tea,
Okay.
both do high gain pretty nicely. Sir Riot Reloaded.
Oh. Where is it?
MI Audio Super Crunch Box.
James Brown,
Oh yeah,
Amp Tweaker.
yeah.
Just high gain stuff. Unreal.
Yeah, Amp Tweaker. I'm going to say MI Audio Super Crunch Box version 3 or whatever they're on now too.
Okay. But I'm going to stick with the Warthog.
Okay.
I think that's awesome. Right, Nick Larson says, my amp rig is too loud in comparison to my friend's Bass Breaker 15 when we practice with our drummer. Could I get away with using the master on a Hot Rod Deluxe? or is a Blues Junior AC15 maybe safer to match levels? Blues Junior and AC15s are wildly different amplifiers. So I don't know what the rest of your rig is. And I don't know what the original amp rig is. A Hot Rod Deluxe is a really good shout.
It's got a really weird mid-range
Yeah.
that is almost purpose-built for live use.
Yep.
So they can be quite... millions of Hot Rod Deluxes sold, used extensively around the world for all applications. We find recording it does have a bit of a mid-range honk to it.
Yeah.
And an upper mid-range honk, which is absolutely fantastic in a live situation.
Yep.
So, but it's blinking loud.
Yeah. It really gets you right in the ear hole.
Yeah, crazy loud. Maybe the other option you could try is an EQ pedal.
Yeah, use that as a master.
Just sculpt the EQ so that it just sounds a bit softer.
Yeah, take it off for your boost.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a
Underdrive.
great idea. Put the EQ pedal in your effects loop. What amp does he have?
It doesn't say.
Oh, okay. If you've got an effects loop, put the EQ pedal in the effects loop and do what Dan just said. Turn it off when you want to boost for solos and have it on for everything else just to shape. Because if you knock back those frequencies, anything from like 500 up to about 3K, if you put a gentle scoop in there, you'll find that will pull you right back in the mix. So yeah, maybe try that.
Yep. Connor Dukovic. Hey, says, g'day from Melbourne. G'day, Connor. How do you guys feel about running a boost in the effects loop of an amp? Or is it better to run them in the front of the amp? Different jobs. Depends how you're running your amplifier. Actually, if you're running an amplifier with loads of headroom, it's a similar job. Most of the boosts, I would say, if you've got a boost, right, what you're doing is you've got to make sure that you've got enough headroom in the preamp signal, and that then going into the output stage has also enough headroom to boost the signal. If your preamp stage, if you're clipping and you put that in the loop, it's going to be tricky because the send from the amplifier, the level is going to be so much hotter than what you're getting out of your normal guitar level. So it has to be like a purpose boost thing. But so I'm guessing what you're saying is you want just boost. You just want clean more. So yeah, a really good option is actually use the boost or the EQ for your less sound and then take it off for your more sound.
Yeah.
That's a really good way to do it.
That's a good shout.
It
really does depend on the loop design as well, because some effects loops are post, or some amps have a post-phase inverter master volume, and where the effects loop is in relation to the master volume has a massive effect on how the loop functions. So if you're running let's accept that, if you're running a lot of gain in the front end of the amp, sometimes the boost in the effects loop is literally the only way you can get louder for the reason that Dan just said. So try it always.
Yep. Grant Thomas says, hey, good work, boys. By the way, ever thought of releasing an Impy Dance pedal? I reckon as an always-on pedal, you'll be all rich.
Josh Casper says, can't be overstated how much you guys lift my spirits, higher than a beagle.
That's very kind, thank you.
We sang that, didn't we, once? Higher than a beagle. Hard to stay mentally positive in this day and age. Love you guys. It is hard, Josh, and we feel you if that's the way you feel.
Josh, I called Doug, our drummer, on the way here, and I apologised to him because over the past 3 months, I haven't been able to do any work on the EP. I've been in it's a difficult place mentally, and it's so hard to be expressive and artistic and creative when you're in that place, and it's really, really challenging. I'm being able to, now we've started coming back in here and doing the shows, has made, I can't tell you the difference it's made, but I'm really glad that when the Monday thing has become really important to us, because we just feel like we're hanging out with all you guys, and it's that makes a difference. But yeah, it's affected everyone. Please don't feel in any way that one of the things when you get in that headspace is you feel really isolated, considering that how physically isolated we all are at the moment. But please don't feel in any way that you're alone in this, because it's affected everyone like this. You know, and so called Doug on the way here and just said, "Man, I'm really sorry. Feeling really good now. I'm getting back into it."
Yeah.
But it's so hard. It's so hard to be creative when you're in that place.
The irony of that is when you can metaphorically get off the sofa and go for a run, start being creative again.
Yeah.
The positive up.
Yeah.
Positive knock-on of doing that is colossal.
Yeah.
And it does seem to be, with whatever state of mental health you're in, you know, a negative spiral downwards is all too easy to be in.
Yeah.
But that positive spiral upwards, wouldn't it just be great if we could stay there instead of having to do these massive swings the whole time?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
think the, you know, artistic community, the music community, we're all more susceptible to that, you know, or as susceptible as anyone.
Maybe more willing to admit it.
Maybe. I think there's a thing about, you know, anyone being artistic as being emotionally vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know, and I think
'Cause you
that's
put yourself
probably
out there.
adds to that. But anyway, yes, mate, we're right there with you. Dave says, "Thanks, guys. Just a suggestion to check out Dogman Devices."
Dogman
Devices. It's a black-owned, handmade pedal company based in Ohio. I'd love to hear them. Totally. If you know them, we've got a thing on our website on thatpedalshow.com about sending in gear. Just send them an email saying, "Hey, you know, go and check this out." But would absolutely love to hear them. Totally.
Victor G1243 says, "Who does mix awesome haircuts?"
Catherine's been doing them, lately,
wife.
hasn't she?
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
been knocking it out of the park.
We watched some YouTube tutorials, bought a set of clippers, and
She
Bob's
practiced on this and ended up with that. So
I had a cut yesterday, actually.
got to start somewhere.
Roberto is drinking sangria with your Auntie Doreen. Chris James. Chris, your generosity is astounding.
Oh, mate, that's
And
wow.
very gratefully received. Thank you very much. Okay, says Chris. Enough beating around the bush. The wheelhouse. I have a singer-songwriter coming in who's incredible. But he has this Daniel Johnston thing, and I want to capture him live, maybe on 1/4-inch tape. His meter and temper are all over the place, but in a good way. I'm probably overthinking it. Oh man, you've done 2 insanely generous donations. But was considering sending a dynamic to the super reverb for the vocals and a vocal ribbon DI. My question is, he wants to play either a parlor type guitar with pickups and or a hollow body into the amp. Okay, so your problem is you want to catch him live, you want to capture the moment, but you want as much control over that as possible to be able to mix afterwards. And that's going to be tough, given that you're trying to record the guitar and the voice at the same time. The other problem with that is just a basic physical one. Like if he is an in the moment kind of guy, and is he going to stay in one place? Is he going to give you what you need?
If you're in a place though where you can isolate the guitar amp, you know, like, so, you know, seeing those, some studios, they have those dividing screens and things, just to give you a bit more control over that. I personally, I always love a little bit of spill in the mix. Whenever we've done,
it's glue, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's an amazing thing how that works. So, but having just a little bit of divide sometimes can really help.
Massively.
Just give you a bit more control.
Yeah, hugely. You just stick up a screen. I mean, you know this. If you work in studios, you know this. And you haven't got to worry about overdubs and stuff like that, because if you're going for a one take and he messes up vocals or guitar, you've got to do it again anyway. So the spill doesn't matter in that respect. I would, I mean, everything you're saying, if you're doing those multiple sources, then the mix is down to you, isn't it?
Yep.
It does sound really cool.
I think it's a great opportunity to be creative and try a bunch of stuff, you know, and just see what works. I think, you know, a lot of my favorite albums, those great sounds have been happy accidents. So, you know, get creative and try a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So I once did a demo, and I just set my amp up in the bathroom, and had a couple of mics in there, got this great sound on. Went back to it, worked out one of the mics wasn't even on, and it was just the sound. It was the mic near the door.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a cheap condenser mic, and I was like, okay, well that's a thing. Yeah, great.
I think if you can sensibly capture as many sources as makes sense. So
Sure.
you're talking about the vocal ribbon DI, the dynamic to the super reverb, whatever DI you can take. If you capture everything, then you can mix at your heart's content. Also, don't be afraid. You know, if the standard configuration for vocals and guitar is one large diaphragm condenser mic that's prioritizing vocals and one that's prioritizing guitar, there's quite a bit you can do with phase to separate them. And don't be, you know, with all the tremendous amount of plugins you've got, you say you want to do it to 1/4 inch tape, which is great, but you can do a hell of a lot of processing via plugins, other effects, and I think that's okay. You know, I think that's totally okay. If you listen to who's the big starlet at the moment, who's super unique, and Billie Eilish.
Oh yes.
They're not afraid to muck about with stuff.
No.
It's super raw. It's incredibly creative. And you believe every single syllable she utters.
Yep.
And yet there's no wish to keep anything old school or
Of course.
it's just creative. So we wish you well with that. And thank you for your borderline insane generosity. Thank you.
It's amazing. Just to finish that, a really great thing that Fraser mentioned once. He says he will always go for performance over sound quality every day. So whatever, if you're producing this guy, whatever gets him in that space to get that performance out, and then you can deal with the rest later. But if you know,
that's good advice. So if you end up doing loads of multiple sources and it's making him feel a bit uncomfortable, you know this. You know this.
Yep.
You record people.
Nick Wiswell says, late one on volume. Most people don't realise that the decibel scale is not linear. It's logarithmic, and plus or minus 6 dB is double half the perceived volume. Thoughts on this? Plus 3 is double. Plus 6 is double.
Yeah, we do try and when we talk about the dB meter, we do try and explain that.
Yeah, but it's, you know, you go from 97 dB to 100 dB, and that's a big difference.
That's loud.
Yeah.
We don't think our dB meter is very accurate, or whether it's A or C weighted or whatever all those terms are.
Yeah.
So, it's only ever a guide, isn't it? Really,
Yep.
So, an indication. Christopher says, "Hey fellas, I'm bringing in my father-in-law's 69 telly for a refret. Any tips on fret wire? I saw you both put 6105s on yours, but wondered if 6230s or 6150s might have more vintage feel for him."
Very interesting. So I have my 65 telly that I'm getting refretted, and it's very important to me that I don't change the feel of that guitar because it's absolutely divine. So I'm going to be very, very particular. When we did the refret show, Mick and I had our guitars refretted. Mick went with 6105 and I went for the 6100 originally, which was fatter, and it fundamentally changed the sound of red. Couldn't believe it. Then went back a couple of months later, says, I can't work with this. I can't work with this. And had the 6105 put back in, and suddenly red was back. So it's a big deal. The more metal mass that you have on the guitar will change the sound of the guitar. Thin frets, you know, if that's a vintage thing, I don't know what that is, but certainly in my guitar, I don't want any extra anything on there. I just need the frets to go to the end of the fretboard.
Depends what kind of stuff he plays. The reason I like 6105s is because they're not that much wider, but they are taller.
Right.
So on the kind of Strats that I play, I always like the vintage curvy fingerboard, just like the way it feels. So if you've got a bit more height on the fret there, it seems to me that and then you can profile them accordingly, and it seems to me like you get less of a problem with choking out, and you get cleaner note. I find with my particular style of playing, I get a cleaner note.
Right.
And easier bends.
Yeah. So I guess I am struggling
if they're
with
too
the old
low,
telly.
if the frets are too low, you've got too much flesh on the fingerboard and it's harder to bend.
Right.
So
interesting.
yeah, I personally would have 6105s in all my guitars. I like them.
Yeah,
But
they're great.
yeah, it depends. If he doesn't do a lot of bending and stuff like that, you know, if he's not like a flashy ass lead player or whatever, then I wouldn't worry about having any bigger frets in there. But if he does play solos and stuff and bends, then that's where the bigger frets really come into it.
Sure.
In my opinion.
The taller ones, not necessarily the wider ones.
Yeah,
the taller
taller.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your 2 cents. Thank you. Always good to see you both. Big help in these down days. What other pedal lines have an internal buffer besides Boss, also at that price point? Well, okay, there's lots of them. Right, Ibanez is another one. What else is there?
What's his mid price point?
Just, but what other pedals that are this price the same as Boss pedals also have an internal buffer? So here's the thing, right?
Oh, God.
Any pedal, when it's on, will be a buffer. It'll have different output impedance. You know, they're not all the same output impedance and not all the same quality, but they will be buffering your signal in some way. You know, you have anomalies with that, like old fuzz pedals that have a high output impedance. The lower the output impedance, the more it's going to drive the capacitance in the cable, okay? But the higher the output impedance, the more susceptible it is to, you know, tone sucking and stuff. So a good buffer will have a lower output impedance, but it's not just about that. There's also headroom and, you know, the way that the buffer's designed and if it's done with an op amp and the slew rate of the op amp and all this stuff, it all makes a difference. So, but if you're worried about the pedals in the off state, if what you're specifically talking about is the off state of the pedal and you want a buffer when it's off, well, there are loads that give you the option of being either buffered or true bypass when they're off. So TC Electronics, they do that. What else is there? Most of the do the Fender ones do that?
I think there's some of the Fender ones. I think some of the Wampler ones do.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he's saying, if what you want is a buffer in there somewhere to pick everything up and keep it all going through all the other stages of your signal, one of the good things to do is to put a buffer after your overdrives.
Yep.
So let your overdrives do their job and then stick a buffer after the overdrives and let that then keep everything all nice all through all your wet effects and everything else.
Perfect.
Maniacal Lion says, hello from my vacation in Duluth. MN. Is Maine MN or is that Minnesota? I don't know. Sorry, apologies for our poor knowledge of US states. Maybe more than a quick question, but how do you go about setting your amp? What are you listening for and how do you go about fine-tuning? I'll do this very quickly.
Okay.
And Dan, if you agree.
Yes.
We use the Matt Schofield method. I use the Matt Schofield method. What I want from a guitar amp is for it to be in its most open and responsive state.
Yes.
So I don't want too much of anything or not enough of anything. I want it to just be open and breathing and in the place where I have a feeling in my brain. I want it to come out of the amp without there being any middle processes. And having the amp in its most kind of open and balanced state, these are all terms that you can interpret, is the way that I personally like to do it. And that is, you go through every single pot and you'll find a position on that pot that brings the point of most change. That's where you set that pot. And there's probably 2 points in that pot's thing.
There are.
If you're, and if that all sounds a bit abstract, try it and see what you think. If you find yourself, like you've got the bass on 0 and the treble on 10 and the middle on 10, something isn't quite right.
Yeah.
You know? Again, it depends on what amp it is. If it's like a normal valve guitar amp, chances are the EQ pots are basically, they're like taps. So you run your signal through the amp, water running through your amp, and
that's a perfect analogy though.
If the bass and the treble in the middle are all on 10, the water is flowing freely. As you turn them down, the water is impeded. I don't mean to use the word impedance because it's not about impedance, but the flow is lessened. So there is a point.
So I have to do it every time.
There is a point there where you know, all completely open might be a bit hairy for you, but one of my favourite settings on the 2-Rock is when you switch the EQ out.
Yep. Turn the tone stack off.
So you just turn it down to the point where you haven't got too much of anything or not enough.
Yeah.
And that is a little bit, it's not very specific, but that's how we do it.
Yep.
And then, of course, then you hit it with an overdrive pedal, everything changes, so you just tweak a little bit. But for me, it's where it's the most open that the amp can possibly be.
Yep, totally.
Harmonically.
John W777 says, within the first 4 minutes of the last show, I laughed my butt off, cursed Mick, and had to listen to Dan repeat Impy Dance twice before I got it. Keep up the great work.
If you didn't watch Friday's show, we were talking about impedance in amplifiers, and somehow
just watch the first 5 minutes.
I pulled out Impy Dance and did a dance, and it was one of those things that probably will never happen again.
Oh, man. Magic.
Gino Inzario, what are your favourite vintage chorus pedals? Tried all Boss, Ibanez, CS and Dodd offerings. Thanks, as always, for the content advice.
CE1 is the best.
Yeah.
CE1.
CE2's pretty good.
CE2 is great.
Analog Man by Chorus is absolutely awesome.
Yep. The Electro Harmonics Polychorus is great. And what's another really good one? The Dimension C.
Yeah.
That's it. All food groups.
Yep. There was a question I saw here that I really want to answer.
Sanil Yappa says, where do you guys like a king of tone in your signal chain stacking? Thank you, Sanil. I have it. Boy, where do I have mine now? I'm using it in my little studio at home at the moment, and I've got it right before my page. I'm using the page as like the last booster, and the king of tone going into that. But I'm not using it first of all. I'm having it towards the end of the chain. I keep the king of tone a little bit of gain, but not crazy. Not doing a high gain thing. I don't have the high gain mod in mine. Even though it sounds, the high gain mod and the king of tone sounds awesome, but I don't use it like that. It just has a little bit of juice. So that bit of juice into the king of tone, and I can put a treble booster into that, and it's just heaven.
Yep, I kind of agree. I've always, whenever I do use anything like a KOT or a blues breaker type thing, I tend to use it less gainy.
Yeah.
After whatever else.
Yeah. I think that's where they shine.
Joseph Hoare says, my 15-year-old son and I are loving the lockdown shows. Thank you. Thanks to both of you. I've long had a 50-watt mat amp, but my solid-state Yamaha 70s G100, designed by Paul Revere, has been relegating it. Have you ever tried one? I've never tried the G100.
No.
My first ever guitar amp was an 80s 50-watt Yamaha.
Oh, wow, really?
Guitar amp.
Right.
When I moved up from the K plastic. I then had a 50-watt solid-state Yamaha thing, which had a built-in distortion thing that was on a switch. I don't know if that's the same thing. And I had the 50 and you've got the 100, maybe.
I had a Coronet.
Nice.
Yeah, little 2x12 thing.
No, I've never tried the G100.
What was the amp that George Benson used?
Oh, did he use the Lab series stuff like BB?
I think so, yeah.
A lot of the jazz guys used the Lab just because it was loud, and I don't know if that is the case with George, by the way. Says, sorry about the dumb question. I have a Torpedo Captor X, which takes an 8 ohm load.
Right.
I realised my Morgan AC20 combo is 16. I get confused around this subject. Do you think it will be okay to use? I would have thought the AC20 has got an 8 ohm output somewhere there as well.
Yeah, so look, I'm sure it will be okay. What you're doing is because you're using going from a 16 ohm output into an 8, there'll be more current.
Yeah, okay.
But 16 to 8, I mean, you know, the thing that when I talk to amp guys about this, and the really experienced guys, they all say it should be okay.
Yeah.
No one goes, oh yeah, you're going to be fine. It should be okay. There is always a risk there when you mismatch impedances.
Yeah.
But as a rule of thumb, I said, just don't do it. Find a way to get it matched up. But surely the Morgan's got an 8 ohm output.
Well, it does, but I've just realised, presumably, you want to use the. I don't know what the Captor X is. Presumably, you want to use it in line with your speaker.
So the Captor X is the new thing out from 2 Notes.
And is it in line with the speaker, or is
Yes.
it? Okay, so what you've got to do basically is, if the AC20 has an 8 ohm out, which it should have,
Yeah, really should have.
you need to swap that 16 ohm speaker out for an 8 ohm one.
Okay, but if he's using it to record at home, it's also a load box.
Yeah.
So if you've got a Captor X 8 ohm load box
And you're not using it
a
with the speaker, then it's
then
not
just
a
use the
problem.
8 ohm output of the amplifier.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris
Brad?
James, sorry. Says,
go for it.
Last question, I swear. Thoughts on the Duesenberg Star Player TV and the Williams Audio fuzz pedals? So I had a Duesenberg Star Player TV. They are fantastic.
Great guitars. Really great guitars.
Really great guitar. All the Duesenbergs that we've played have been so consistently good.
Yeah.
I think I found my Star Player probably too good. in the sense that I just didn't. I have to have a bit of fight.
Yeah.
That's why I like the heavy strings. I like Telecasters.
Yeah.
It's got to put me in a bit of a. But the Star Player was just so easy and lovely to play. The tremolo system on those things is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous because it works and it sounds good.
It sounds great. Stays in tune.
Vibrato systems down the years, they either do one or two of those, one or the other of those things.
Yep. I don't know how they've done it.
They either work or they sound good. The Duesenberg one does both.
Yeah, really. Yeah, so fantastic guitars. I don't know the Williams Audio fuzz pedals.
Yeah. Dan, on last week's VCQ, you grabbed a pink slapback, a pedal for slapback delay off the shelf, but never revealed what it was. It was pink. AD9 or DM2.
Okay, so this is my AD80. Right? So the TS808, the original one, this is the delay that is from that series, and it's an 18 volt BBD delay, and it's great. It's very dark, as opposed to the AD9, which I also have and I don't know where it is, which concerns me. And that's probably for slapback. I think the AD9 is probably maybe a better shout, but there are things that this does which is just very, very special. But yeah, slapback, the AD9 version of this one is great. Also, this, which is the Maxon.
That is spectacular.
This is incredible. So there we go.
It's got 2 delay lines, hasn't it?
It does. You can have 2 delay lines going. But if you put it on the single delay, that's basically an
Really
89,
exceptional.
and it's just magic.
Simon Mastromateo again. Hi Simon. I'm picking you out because you've asked the question that we should have addressed right at the top of this show. Any comebacks on the audio of last week's show? You guys seem to notice big differences being in the room. For context, what we did is we had, just in case you didn't watch the show. So, for example, we had Dan's matchless head and his 212 cab. We had the head at 4 ohms and we wired the speaker cab for 4 ohms. And then we had the head at 16 ohms and we wired the same speaker cab for 16 ohms. So absolutely everything remains the same except the impedance of the cab and what the tap off the transformer in the amp. We, in the room, were hearing some differences.
Yep.
What was your thoughts after hearing the audio?
I could hear it in the audio, but not anywhere near the same thing as we heard it in the room. The other thing is there's also obviously a delay between when we recorded the 16 ohm and recorded the 4 ohm one. But hearing the 4 ohm one, that just had that togetherness. It's really funny, that 16 ohm one, there's a sizzle in the 16 ohm one that I really like, but there's that thing that the Matchless does so well, that massive chimey sound, and at 4 ohms is like, that's...
Reading the comments was fascinating over the weekend. So quite a lot of people said, well, here were the main issues that came up. Quite a lot of people said, you guys have lost it. I really can't hear any difference in the audio. At which point I'm going, okay, there's either a problem with your hearing or what you're listening through. Because to me, with a set of reference headphones using our good stuff, the difference was striking in the Matchless, especially in the low end. Now, it is possible that the YouTube compressed audio flattened some of that out a bit. In the room, I wasn't hearing it as directly. Sure. But I was feeling it more.
Yeah. Totally. The Mattress thing at 4 ohms, there was a different feel. That thump, I could feel it in my bones.
And I think there was one point in the video where we say, this isn't maybe the kind of thing you're going to notice night and day A/B testing, but it is if you have it set one way for a few weeks of rehearsing, playing, gigging, whatever it is you do, and then you change it, that's when you'll notice it.
Sure.
Because it's in the detail. So that was one thing. Another issue that came up was a lot of people said, actually, the difference between series and parallel wiring makes a huge difference. And Dan actually mentioned this, where the way the speakers react if they're wired parallel series can be quite different.
Yep, totally.
So that was the other thing. And another thing was lots of people were explaining some of the things that we touched upon in terms of physical characteristics of how a transformer works and why it may have felt tighter, more direct, thumpier at the lower impedances and more detailed, more harmonic overtones and all the rest of it at the higher impedances. And that, reading all that stuff over the weekend kind of underlined what I think I've been hearing for 25 years.
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, it is a borderline ridiculous thing to say. I have always preferred amps with 8 ohm speaker loads.
Right.
And I don't know why that is.
Best of all worlds?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had assumed that I'd assumed that the difference would be bigger because when I was recording at home using a load box, the difference with a load box between 4 and 16 is massive. And I thought, wow, but actually, no. So, because the load box has got that, what do you call it, the thing, the
reactive load.
The reactive load. Yeah. You've got a certain sort of the frequency of the reactive load. And
so let it be said that your load box is nothing like a speaker because the difference in using the load box was colossal. I found that's one of the reasons I stopped using aux was because I plug it in and my guitar amp didn't sound like my guitar amp anymore.
Sure.
Sounded like something else that could definitely be good and usable.
Yeah.
But it seemed to be, it's called a load box, right? Seemed to be loading the amp way more than the speaker ever did.
Right.
Asking it to work harder.
Really interesting. Kevin O'Shea. Now, this is really interesting. He says,
Kevin.
Hi, guys. Yeah, thanks, Kevin. He says, hi, guys. I'm from Cork, Ireland, and our hometown hero is Rory Gallagher. Is it Gallagher or Gallagher?
Gallagher.
Gallagher, okay. Yeah. Have you any thoughts on his playing, songwriting, gear, and tone, etc.? Okay, so I'd heard all these amazing stories of Rory Gallagher, and I thought, okay, I'm going to check this guy out. And I checked him out, and what I heard, I don't get it. And I listened to a few things, and I'm going, oh no, I don't get it. And anyway, I was talking to Dave Gregory one day at a band rehearsal. I said, what do you think of Rory Gallagher? He goes, listen to Taste. The band he was in called Taste. And I had listened to it. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. So I think there's a rawness to what he does. And on those Taste albums, the Taste recordings, is like, I finally got it. And it was really, really cool. It was like when I never got, and obviously I never saw Rory Gallagher live, but when I heard that and suddenly it all makes sense. Like when I went to see my first Bruce Springsteen gig, right? And before that, I really had I thought he was great, like the hits and stuff, but it wasn't until I saw him live that it clicked. And now I'm thinking, it was like, oh, And I stood there for 3 hours, just watching him play. And I was absolutely mesmerized, and it felt like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes it takes an event like that, and you finally go, and that's what Taste was for me with Rory Gallagher.
Yeah.
It sort of made it all click.
I need to dive back in because I loved him as a singer and guitar player. Loved his slide playing. You know, so raw, so
raw, right?
so real,
Yep.
and so in the moment, and all of that. All of the things I love about artists. But if hand on heart, I don't much like the sound of any of his records.
Right.
The sound is so important to me.
Sure.
In terms of the sound of a record, and which is not to say it's a good or a bad thing. It's I have a particular taste of the sound of records to use to say taste. Simon, who does our filming and editing, hates the kind of music I like.
Right.
Physically can't listen to it because it's produced in a way that just makes he can't stand it.
Wow.
So I'm not saying that it's
Is it like the country that produced?
not better, worse, good or bad.
Yeah, sure.
But I like a really together, harmonically rich, smooth sound.
Sure.
I don't like edge
Okay.
unless it's live, in which case I love edge.
Right.
Yeah, so it's weird. So I need to dive back into some Rory stuff. I haven't listened to him for ages. But yeah, I got a couple live at Montreux recordings, I think. But
Gino Inzerillo. Hello, Gino, and thank you. He says, what are your favourite vintage chorus pedals?
we've had that one.
Oh, we've had that one. Sorry. I get my list comes up in different order to you.
Yeah, Adam Cedillo. Or Cedillo. Cedillo or Cedillo. Adam
Right.
Cedillo. Curious on your thoughts on gain stages with pedals. Some people have 3 to 4 gain stages on their board, but I view it more as flavours of sound rather than gain staging. Is stacking the same as gain staging?
Yes. Totally.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it? I mean, I think most people probably come from your end of things where you go, you want a flavour
Yeah.
of a fuzz or a flavour of a blues driver or a flavour of this or whatever. Or if you're Chris Buck, you have 8 different
Flavours of the same thing.
8 different blues breakers.
Yeah.
And then it's really just shades of grey, isn't it? But yeah.
Have you seen his 62 Strat video?
There's 7 parts to it now. And along with the last 20 Tom Bookervac videos, which I haven't got around to watching.
Yeah, right.
I'm saying I'm going to devote a few hours and just watch all the stuff back to back, but
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Certainly sounds good.
Yeah.
It really does sound good.
Yeah. Pete Melbourne. Thank you, Pete. He says, I want an Impy Dance t-shirt. Yeah. There has to be one on the way. Surely.
Ben Butterworth. Hello, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Haven't heard from you in a while. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, mate.
Hi, guys. Recommendations on 3-amp setup. Mesa Mark 5 and 2 pedal Class D amps, Blue Amp or Victory. I don't want to lift loads of heavy amps. Also thoughts on the Vox AC type chime top boost pedals. Okay, let's deal with the amps thing. Both the Blue and the Victory are very good.
Yeah.
So if you're talking
Is
about,
this for like a wet, dry, wet rig?
I'm guessing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's particularly nice about both of those things that you mention is that they are both analog. So Class D
Yeah.
solid state power sections. So you won't have any problems with phase or
Latency. Yeah.
The Blue is definitely more versatile.
Yeah.
Does more. You've got more tone shaping in there. The Victory is good, loud,
Direct.
very direct sounding. It's got tremolo in addition to reverb. The reverbs in both are nice. Yeah, so it may come down to price for you. Power supply, I think they're both equally hungry. Yeah, both good. I mean, certainly wouldn't hurt you to have one of each.
Sure.
Because they wouldn't necessarily have to be perfectly matched. I think you could, if you're going for a sort of middle of the road clean sound, you could get pretty much the same sound out of each. Maybe the front end in the Victory is a little nicer. Maybe 4 proper valves running it.
Yeah, it's interesting. So the valves in the Victory stuff in the front end. There's one valve in the power section to sort of shape the sound of the power section.
Yeah.
But they're, if that's the sort of thing you're looking for, you really can't go wrong. It's just, it's so hard to play to demo stuff now, isn't it? But they're both great. You know, you're not going to. There's not a bad decision there.
Yeah, they are both great.
Yeah.
RG Uaspari, R Guaspari, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0 says, "Hey guys, can you help? I need more sustain. How can I set up my pedals in order to get that? I have a compressor, CS3, a DS1, an OD3, plus a delay and chorus."
Okay. Right. First thing I would say is, what's the guitar you're playing? So with a compressor pedal, if you have the compressor pedal right at the start of the signal chain, and it's going to limit that input and sort of give you, more sustain going out into the rest of your pedals. If you put the compressor pedal after your gain stage, your gain stages are going to be limiting as well, and then that going into the compressor, and that can be a really cool sound. But it's really hard to get a compressor to be a magic bullet if you've got a guitar that doesn't sustain at all. If you've got a guitar that doesn't resonate, the compressor won't compress anything that's not there in the first place. You know what I mean? Even if it's resonating a little bit, the compressor will be able to bring that up. But if the guitar just doesn't ring, then there's no signal there for the compressor to do its thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Know what I'm saying?
No, I'm saying. So, just I'd look at that first, but then I would say CS3, they're really nice, and then probably in that order, then DS1 and OD3, chorus and then delay.
Yeah, depends how much gain you like as well. If you're going for a fairly clean sound, you're gonna definitely have to lean on that compressor for your sustain. So, I mean, you'll know whether if you don't want a very obvious sort of country quack type sound, then you need to set the attack pretty quick and not have too much compression and a slow release time. If you play with gain, if you like a gainy sound with overdrive, I would be tempted to set up your DS1 with the kind of overdrive sound you like, and then use the OD3 to put the mid-range back in.
Yeah,
and
that's a good shout.
You'll find a mid-range frequency that just makes the guitar keep going. And each guitar's different, but usually it's the mid-range that will bring you that sustain.
Yep.
And in that respect, adding an EQ pedal to your arsenal could be a good way to do it.
Yep.
But normally, 2 overdrive pedals like that, you should be able to get borderline infinite sustain.
Yeah.
Even at low volumes, because there's a lot of gain there.
Sure. As long as that is resonating back around.
Yeah. As long as you're loud enough for it to be going through the speaker and back through your guitar and all of that. But
Brussellecki says, thank you, Brussellecki. He says, love the show, love the gig rig. Thank you. Keep it coming. I know you love Schmidt Array, but consider Temple Audio for a change. It works perfectly for me and gig rig stuff and lava cables.
They look really nice, those Temple boards.
I've sort of watched them blossom as a business, and they've done some really, really cool things. Every time we have a show, I always talk to the guys when they're at a trade show, and they're great. They're doing really great stuff.
They look really nice. The Emerson ones look really nice too.
Oh yeah,
Emerson Custom. They look really, really just nicely finished. And pedal trains are great. They're just so completely fit for purpose.
Yeah.
But they are not beautiful, are they? You don't feel great about owning a pedal train.
Well, it's like the utility things. It's like,
yeah.
John. Anyway.
DCK Strat 90. My OCD version 2 has a lot of gain. I only ever use it with gain on 1 or 2. Any recommendations for a more usable pedal I can get more out of? Okay, so you want less gain. Any booster? Exotic RC booster? That'll do less gain. And you've got the EQ control. What else? Good low gain overdrive.
Any BB blues breaker type circuit. is really good for that low gain stuff.
Benson preamp.
That's a preamp.
Yeah. I'm just thinking because even down low, the OCD's.
OCD down low is great.
Yeah, it's not that gainy down low. So
you can use it we used it as a boost in the show. It's fantastic.
Yeah, you're into sort of boost territory.
Yeah,
I would say.
light speed's always great.
Yeah, but again, even that is a fair bit of breakup.
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder if you use a very powerful guitar. Is my question. Although you're called DCK Strat, so that would suggest you have a Strat.
Benson preamp.
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah, I thought you would have.
Or you go
Page.
for any sort of clon type.
Yeah, clones are great.
J Rocket Archer.
Yep. Kingsley Page is always a wonderful boost.
Yeah, there you go.
Joseph Horare says the G100 was apparently used by Robin Ford before his Dumble. Sounds great with a DoD looking glass. Everything sounds great with a DoD looking glass. That thing is killer. Do we have one?
No.
Oh.
We had to send it back.
And a Cusack Tapperwhirl. Another question is, MI Audio still going? Thanks again from Caleb and me. So
MI Audio?
MI Audio, yeah, so still going.
I'm
on their homepage now, and it's still...
I had an email from Michael a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, did you? Yeah. So, yeah, very much rocking in the free world.
Soren led it. Hi, Soren. Thank you for your generosity and for buying stuff from that Pedal Show store. I think we packed something up for you this week.
Have you heard Soren play?
I haven't, no.
There's a Soren that I see.
You thinking of Soren Anderson, the guy who plays for Yamaha, and Glenn Hughes?
Soren.
Long hair.
Long curly hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
different Soren.
Different Soren. Anyway,
we're
sure you're awesome.
I'm sure you're brilliant as well, Soren. The spacing glass is still there. Here's more funds to get it removed. Love the show on Friday. Yeah, we've been talking about it, and we're erring on the side of caution. The truth is, Dan and I pretty much are exposed to one another now, given that we're sat in this box. We are pretty much, but there is a little bit of a social responsibility thing that we have to do. We need to be seen to be doing the right thing and at least making an effort. So we still do we do our best to do the 2 meter thing. We've got,
we're swimming in hand sanitizer.
Yeah, we've got rid of all of our tea towels and things like that. So there's only like paper towels, and we try and wipe things down after we've used them in the kitchen and stuff like that. So yeah, we can't promise. If we were government ministers, we'd be sacked. Wouldn't we?
Yeah, even without a drive to buy my car. My goodness.
We'd be out of a job if we were the chief medical officer, but we're not. And we are managing risk accordingly.
Let me see.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll take it down on Wednesday. There's going to be some announcements this week, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I tell you, one interesting thing about having hair on your face, which is a new experience for me, is if you get a spot, as I have here, it's hidden by the hair.
Yeah. I've got a list of things that can help that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
good. The other thing I've discovered about having hair on your face and hair that sticks up like this, is it makes your head kind of longer, so you don't look so fat.
When I have my I trimmed this today.
Yeah.
Right. And it was...
You looked rounder when you walked in today.
But see, because I don't have this, and I get this, I look like a comet that's going up.
Oh, nice, yeah.
It's not a, not a great look. Honestly, my passport photo is just ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
I turn it sideways and Alistair Tweedy says, "Gents, I'm stacking a Greer Lightspeed with a Strymon Sunset, but can't decide what order in the chain they sound best. Are there any theories to help me go with one over the other?" It's so tricky.
Here's the theory. If you want a heavier, gainier sound, use the heavier, gainier pedal second. Right?
Yes.
So you're boosting into the heavier, gainier pedal, so it gets heavier and gainier, more compressed, more overdriven. If you want a solo boost and more clarity and dynamic, use the less gainy pedal second.
Mm-hmm.
So you create all your distortion, and then you use the less gainy pedal to make it louder and shape it.
Yep.
That's the theory. Now, in terms of whether that's the Lightspeed or the Sunset, it really depends on how you have them set.
Yeah. I'm going to say Lightspeed first.
I would do that.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
some mentally, I just think that works for me. Lightspeed first.
Richard Henry. Hi,
Richard Henry, hey mate.
Evening, gents. Hope you're both keeping well. Indeed, we are.
Yeah, great actually.
Uh,
I've had a great day today. Really good weekend. The sun is out. It's warm.
it makes a
It
difference.
really does.
We've got some other interesting questions here. Gabriel Solorzano Infante. Gabriel Solorzano Infante. What a great name. Hi guys, Mick, about your American vintage Strat. Do you feel much difference with the current American original 60s regarding the quality of construction? I haven't actually played any American originals 60s. The quality of construction will almost certainly be better now. Fender's just keeps getting better and better and better in terms of consistency. What I'm not so keen on the American originals, I think they've gone to a 9.5 radius board, I think. Which,
What was it?
7.25 mine is, which 98% of the world think is the right decision.
Sure.
So there's only a few weirdos like me that like the old curvy boards. Other than that, I think it's a nitro finish. So my guitar and the American original 60s sandwich the best ones they ever made.
Right.
So Blue is from 2001 American vintage, and it's pretty good.
It's exquisite.
It's pretty good.
Still one of the best Strats I've ever played. It's just gorgeous.
Transit Van is from 2012 and is the best ones they ever did
Right.
in terms of accuracy,
Okay.
neck shapes, weight, pickups, everything about this was better than Blue.
Why is fret markers so much like
There is something not entirely right about this guitar. It was
Okay.
one of the very first ones.
right?
So I think something's anyway. These are the best ones they did,
Right.
and they stopped doing this because the amount of attention to detail
Too much.
and everything else was a bit crazy.
Yep.
I wonder why it felt weird. It's got 9s on it.
Yeah, I picked up the butters before and went, hang on, whoa!
Dan and I are doing a video that will be coming out in a couple of weeks, which is called 10 Things You Asked Us to Try. And one of those things is try light strings on one of your guitars.
Yep.
I actually really like the sound of it. So yeah, the new American originals, great, but as with all modern Fenders, please go and play it. They vary greatly in terms of weight and sort of general, whether you're going to like it or not. So there's every reason that it would be every bit as good as Blue and better. So but go and try it.
Chris James says, I tried playing with my teeth and it hurt, sounded bad. Then stop it, Chris. We missed a super chat apparently from at Lion Wolf. Have you played the new Leicester TV special and Morgan AC20? Would love to hear your thoughts on that combination. Love from Cologne. So the Leicester TV special, is that a Duesenberg?
No, it'll be a is it a Les Paul TV special?
Oh, the yellow, the TV yellow.
Is that
one.
what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
Excuse our ignorance.
No, haven't played that.
In either case, the answer is no.
No, we played we've got the AC20, haven't we? Is it?
No, we've got a Jewel 20, haven't we?
Oh, okay, right.
So also in that show is the Morgan Jewel 20. I have played an AC20 and like it a lot.
yeah.
Yeah, a great deal, in fact. There was
Here we go. So Mick missed the super chat. Says apparently from Nick Larson. With the Trainer YBA1 is my amp.
God.
Even just at 1, it's a bit too loud for the BB15. Don't mind grabbing a smaller amp just for practice purposes. They are beasts.
I don't know if it's got an effects loop, that amp. If it has, I reckon that the EQ pedal in your effects loop is the answer.
Yep.
And if not, put it right at the end of your pedal chain before the input.
And the other one that we missed is Matthew Sonfield says, what do you think of Ash versus Alder Strat? I'm doing a 50s parts build and have an Ash body, but should I try to get an Alder and get the Mark Foley trem?
Okay, so early 50 Strats were predominantly Ash, especially the Sunburst ones. And then they switched to Alder a bit later. I don't know exactly when. And I think they were almost used interchangeably, bearing on what they had, but it tended to be that the see-through finish ones were Ash and the solid colour ones were older for a bit. And then as you get into the 60s, it's mostly older. So if you're talking about an original spec like 54 to 58 Strat, I think you want ash,
Right.
with a maple neck, personally. Looks right. All things being equal, I think that, which it never is, I think the ash ones sound a step closer to a telly.
Yeah, right, okay.
Especially if they've got a hardtail bridge. I've played quite a few ash ones with hardtails, and that is one aggressive guitar.
Right.
Really fantastic. But the mid-range, generally the difference between ash and older is the mid-range is in a slightly different spot, and they say that the ash is slightly scoopier with more bass and more treble.
Right.
I think
I certainly noticed that with, like, just between Butters and Red,
yeah.
that scoopy thing in
Yeah.
Butters, and it can be great, but when there's a that sonic difference, that which leads to that difference in feel and the way that you play.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. They're exactly the same shapes.
Yeah.
But ash and maple versus alder and maple with a rosewood cap, it's like
Yeah.
vastly different.
And I reckon you could find ash and older Strats that had the opposite characteristics.
Yeah, right.
Because of the variances in the guitars
We've
themselves.
listened to Eric Johnson's sound with that really old Strats, and they're dark and
Well, for years I thought Cliffs of Dover was his 54 Strat.
right.
It's a 335.
No.
The recorded version of Cliffs of Dover is a 335.
Wow.
Come on,
I had no idea.
Somebody tell me I'm wrong.
That is awesome.
And then, of course, if you go for an ash body 50 style Strat, it will have, I'm going to say, a different kind of pickup than the 60s ones had. I think the really early ones were Alnico 5, then they went to 2,
Ron's the man.
and then the wire changed, etc., etc. So it is, like a proper vintage spec 50s Strat is different than a vintage spec 60s one. It's a different animal. Which one should you go for? Depends on the piece of wood you find, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oyster O'Grady says, "Hey guys, how are the EPs coming along?" O'Sheen, sorry. O'Sheen O'Grady says, "Hey guys, how are the EPs coming along? I'm working on one too. Recommended checking out Access Analog. You can't rent analog outboard gear and control it robotically from the US using a plugin. Just magic. Wow, amazing." Yeah, so I mentioned this before. I haven't done any work on it for a couple of months. I've just been not in the right headspace for it. But feeling really good. Had a chat to my drummer before, Doug, and gonna get back into it. Actually, I've got some ideas. I had this idea for a tune last weekend. It was just nuts. I'm gonna give it a go anyway. I'll do it before. Anyway, so yeah, I'm there. I'm in a place to start working again.
Yeah, I'm not, unfortunately. It's really boring. I just can't get to it.
Right.
Because I need so many hours.
Sure.
These are the excuses. The life lie is I need so many hours to get it done. I can't even give it one.
Okay.
Whereas the truth is, if you just give it one, Mrs. Sorry. Guy walks into a bar, asks for a double entendre, so the barmaid gives him one. And it's all lies, You just got to prioritise it, and I cannot. It's a bit like exercise, right? What happens when you exercise?
Feel awesome.
Your life gets so much better.
Yeah.
And yet, why do I get out of bed every morning and go, nah, not today?
Yeah. It's the weirdest thing, isn't it?
That is a choice to feel worse. That is by going, no, I'm not going to exercise today. You're going, I am choosing to feel worse.
Sometimes that feeling of feeling worse is like a security blanket.
That's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
And so, onto the EPs, by going, no, I'm not going to give this the time, is the certainty of failure
Right.
is much better than the possibility of success. Because you can go, when I get older, I'll go, I wish I'd finished that EP. It would have been so great.
Yeah.
Instead of finishing it and going, actually, that was awful.
Okay.
Which is what it will inevitably be. So,
No.
well, it will, because I like Doyle Bramall and Joey Landreth and Michael Landau, and it's never going to be that.
Yeah, but it's going to be your own thing.
Yeah,
What I've
maybe.
heard you do sounds awesome.
Maybe. So yeah, sorry, bit of philosophy there. I can't find the motivation to do it.
Okay.
It's really bad, isn't it?
It's not. It's just got to.
Just got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I know.
look, I'm the same.
JSDI.
I've been lacking motivation, but mine's never been. I don't think mine's going to sound bad, and I'm certainly not concerned about sharing it with everyone. It's just for me to get a. You'll be aware that I'm, Mick can pick up any guitar and do his thing. It's just amazing. I don't have that. For me to get a good performance out, it's got to sound right. I've got to be in the right headspace. And when I'm there and the sound is happening, I can connect and I can play.
No, I'm the same.
But okay, but you know what I mean. So my thing at the moment is I cannot be in the headspace to perform to a level where I'm thinking that's great.
Yeah, really.
I just can't. I'm finding it really hard when we're here because I'm recording the EP at home, right? In my tiny little room, I can't have the amps up or anything like that, and I'm still working through the technology.
Yeah.
So there's all that stuff as well.
Technology is a barrier, isn't it?
When technology is a barrier, it's such a hard one to get through.
Yeah.
But when I turn up here, plug in a board, plug in the amps, and go, oh, it's just the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But trying to get this, and you're actually writing lyrics and singing and stuff. And I don't get me wrong, I love that stuff, but it's like I've got to be in the right headspace. I think doing that thing on getting guitar sounds and stuff together, and that was such hard work. Then I got the ISO cab, and it's like got a Celestion Blue in there, got the matchless or the Audio Kitchen Big Chopper, ribbon mic. It's like done. So that made things a lot easier. But now I'm just finding other excuses not to do it because I'm just not in that space.
Other things get in the way. The guitar sounds and actually playing the parts and doing the guitar. I don't worry about any of that.
Right.
It's just finishing the song, which I find tough.
Okay.
Anyway, Gino Inzerio, you were asking about vintage choruses and vintage sounding choruses other than Boss, and we talked about Boss. Analog Man by Chorus, just get that. It's the best, in my opinion. Oh, Jam Pedals Waterfall.
Yes.
They are my two favourite choruses.
Where's the Analog Man one?
It should be up there on the left, is it? Or is it one of the ones you took home, maybe? Oh, okay. Is it on the back wall? There it is.
Back wall. There it is.
Jam Pedals Waterfall. Jam Pedals Waterfall. Analog Man by Chorus. And that is exceptional. Any one of these
Just as long as it's blue,
will make you
good to go.
Any one of these will make you a happy camper.
Yeah.
Also, let's give a shout out to Jam Pedals.
Oh yes.
They're doing a campaign called Lending a Hand. If you go to the jampedals.com/lending a hand, I think it is, but go to the Jam Pedals website and it'll be all over there. Or check out Jam Pedals anywhere on social media. They're doing a campaign at the moment where artists including Nels Klein, Steve Lukather, Andy Timmons, Sean Ono Lennon, and a bunch of other people,
James Maskus,
really cool people are doing. There's 10 pedals from each of those artists, hand signed, being auctioned, and the money raised from being auctioned is going to help organisations that help musicians who have been basically knocked on their arse by COVID because they've had to stop work.
Yep.
And there are various organisations that do that. So jampedals.com, it's called Lending a Hand. Please go there, and that's a really good reason to buy a Waterfall or a Ripley Fall. I think there's maybe some signed by Lukather and Julian Lage. I can't remember exactly who they are. Dan and I are going to put a video out on Instagram in the next couple of days, but yeah, jampedals.com, Lending a Hand.
Very cool.
Shout out for the Waterfall.
Yep. Brian Carpenter says, guys, looking for your recommendation on best affordable price point semi-hollow electric. looking at Ibanez Artcore series or Epiphone Uptown Cat?
Ibanez Artcore for me.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I played a new Epiphone.
There was. I remember walking into Kempster's in Swindon. They had a black Epiphone 335. It was awesome.
Yeah, they can be great. They can be really great. The other brand to check out, they are a little bit more expensive, but they're not as expensive as Gibson. And that would be a brand called doing my head in. They're really good. I can see the guy's name. Pepen is the guy's name who does the distribution for them. They're really, really great guitars.
Vintage?
No.
Vantage?
No.
Wantage?
Oh, it's doing my head in. I'm doing a U, Dan.
Yes, you are.
I'm going to remember.
Okay. Chris James, man. Assuming we're all fellow introverts. Thank you, Chris. That's so kind, mate. Assuming we're all fellow introverts and need to take a break from music every once in a while, what other creative outlets do you find appealing? Enjoy a good read? Favorite authors? I think one of the reasons that I've been struggling, because my other thing was jiu-jitsu, which is probably the most close contact sport in the history of the world. So that's been a no-go. That's been part of why I'm struggling. I don't really, it's like, it's that and music and guitar for me. Everything else is family. That's my three. So I got friends and family, music and jiu-jitsu, and that's my little triangle of happiness.
Yeah, the creative outlets. I do love reading, but I just literally never do.
Right.
Like Dan and I are in a very unusual position because the jobs we do are creative the jobs we do are creative. So we spend our whole working lives being creative, or at least trying to be creative. So whether it's something like taking a photograph for the thumbnail of this, or making video, or doing a bit of design work for whatever it is, that's how I spend my days and most nights.
Yeah.
So quite often when I go home, the last thing I want to do is anything creative. And I actually think that's why
Wow, that's really
I
interesting.
struggle so hard writing music
Yeah.
and being in bands and stuff, because my day-to-day work in life is having to exercise that creative muscle in my brain, whether it's writing or whatever it is.
And you just want to... Yeah, I get that.
So
totally
I
get
like
that.
watching TV.
Yeah.
I don't mind mowing the lawn.
Yeah. I've watched, I binged watched a series called The Good Doctor recently. And it's so easy to watch. And it's just like, yeah, that's really
Tell you
cool.
what's good. There's a series called Little Fires Everywhere.
Oh, right. Yeah, you mentioned that.
It's really, really good. Really, really good. It's on Amazon, I think. It's just so annoying me. I can't remember the name of this guitar brand. Someone's going to say, aren't they? Someone's going to say.
Lion Wolf says, regarding my question about the Lester, yes, a Les Paul Special. Do you think a Les Paul Special with a P90 and a Morgan AC20 would team up well? Stay safe. I would team up absolutely brilliantly. So my Les Paul Junior. This obviously is very different from the TV yellow ones, which is like the Les Paul body, but they're really flat and a bit thinner.
Jens Larsen, Eastman guitars.
Eastman
guitars.
Oh, we played those when we made the amps.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. They were Jens. They would be absolutely at the top of my list if it wasn't a Gibson.
Yeah, right. Anyway, this into any Vox style amplifier is just superb, absolutely superb. So yeah, highly, highly recommended. I've been doing my Tom Bukovac.
Oh, nice. I've got so much catching up to do with Tom's videos.
Yeah, anyway.
Tom Hurrell says, Mick said, Strat, Tele, Les Paul and 335 are essential. Captain Anderson once said, Fender, Gibson and Martin Acoustic. Fender Electric, Gibson Electric, Martin Acoustic are the Holy Trinity. No arguments so far. How many guitars are too many? How many guitars are too many? Could one guitar ever do? Right, how many guitars are too many?
How many guitars are too many? Oh, we were just talking today about getting some more guitars.
Yeah.
That's not too many.
Usably, You know, what do you want? You want your main squeeze, or you want an alternative? Electric guitars. So I think two. You could do two.
Yeah. I could do everything I needed on my telly for Red for the longest time. It wasn't until I started playing with Dave Gregory and he started bringing all these other guitars in. It's like, wow. I heard the Junior and I heard his V and then it's like, I can't get that sound.
Yeah.
You know, I can get an amazing rock sound and beautiful cleans and all the stuff in between. But when you're confronted with the character and how special these guitars are, and that's what started this stuff.
That's then about this thing that we all have, isn't it? That's partly about gas. It's partly about living in your head.
Yeah.
Because all these guitars down here, I'm, going to make great music with one day. It's literally never going to happen. So we play them on the show and they're great for all of that. But the reason I get the guitar, I'm thinking, I'll get that guitar, then maybe I'll finish that EP, or go out and do a bunch of gigs for somebody, and the gigs come in. What do I take? Strat. If I could only have one guitar ever for the rest of my life, it would be my Collings CJ35 acoustic.
Wow.
If I had to get rid of everything else and only have one guitar for the rest of my days, that's what it would be.
Okay.
If I was permitted to have one electric guitar and one acoustic guitar, I would have my 335.
Instead of the Strat. Oh, man.
Yeah, totally. Could do everything on the 335.
Yeah.
Can't do everything on the Strat, really.
I mean, no surprise to me. I'd have the old telly.
The old telly.
I sit at home with that guitar, and I play and play and play, and it's just like I just feel so connected to that guitar. It's lovely. I'm getting my acoustic made from Johnny, and I'm so excited about that. But yeah,
I look at that and I see a ute.
You see a workhorse.
A pickup.
I had a ute.
I mean, the telly is really the pickup, but that's what that is.
Right.
It's the guitar that was so far ahead of its time.
Yeah, right.
It was unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it still looks space age.
Yeah.
All these years later, but yet it's a work instrument.
Mm.
It's a tool.
Sure.
This is an S-Class Merc. This is what you want to be driving to Sainsbury's
Yeah, right.
in, and what you want to be cruising up and down the motorway in. Isn't it? You feel great when you get into that.
No, yeah.
Yeah? Leather interior,
Yep.
decent aircon.
Window down,
Yeah,
hair in the scalp.
yeah.
Yeah.
You could do the legal speed limit comfortably.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Right, Matthew Sonnenfield.
But
Thanks,
it would
Matthew.
be a Collings I-35. It wouldn't be a Gibson.
Right. Matthew Sonnenfield says, what do you think is the best way to get started with a MIDI pedalboard if you have no MIDI experience? Just jump in with any technology. Jump in. And then, I mean, having an idea of what you want the MIDI pedalboard to be able to do to start with, and then start doing your research. So, for example, get started with your PC messages, your program change messages, which basically enables you to recall different presets of sounds. And once you've got that down, that's fairly simple. Then start looking at CC messages, which is a continuous control message, which enables you to control things within that preset once you've recalled it. And yeah, get those two things down and you're away. MIDI 2.0 is coming out. It looks full on.
I'll give you a non-MIDI person's answer, Matthew, which, given that you have no MIDI experience, might be useful to you. Here's how I understand it.
Okay.
All your pedals that can't do MIDI, you don't need MIDI, right? Because there's nothing that a MIDI controller can do to those pedals.
Mm-hmm.
Something like Dan's G2 is different, because Dan's G2 is also a switcher and a MIDI thing. So if you've got, let's take 4 pedals at random. You've got a tube screamer, an analog chorus, a Strymon timeline, and a Boss RV 500. Dan's G2 will enable you, in straight pedal switching world, to have any combination of any of those pedals with one touch, plus a bunch of other stuff. When you add MIDI to that, what it will also enable you to do is, let's say, turn on your overdrive and your chorus and select a specific patch in either of the other two pedals or both of them. That's program change. So it won't just turn the delay on, but it will turn the delay on and select patch 63 for you and patch 21 in the reverb, or any patch you want. Then what Dan's talking about with continuous control message is not only will it switch the delay on and the patch, but it will then enable you to have your delay level or your delay repeat time or any other parameter on an expression pedal.
Yep.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
So I apologise for breaking that down, but I have to do that because I don't understand that stuff.
Sure.
And every time I set up a pedal board to do something like that, I totally forget.
Okay. Why don't, in the coming months, we'll do, maybe after the summer, but we'll do an extensive show on MIDI, and it might not be a Friday show, it might be a Tuesday show or something, but, you know, if everyone's interested, we'll show you what you can do with MIDI stuff, because it is really interesting.
It is. We did a show back along, which will explore the basics. But back to what Dan right at the top of the answer was, there are some things that only MIDI can do.
Yeah.
So you will either be at the point where you need it or you don't.
It's an amazing thing. It's been
Yeah.
around for the longest time. It's yeah, it's great.
Did we do Hetfield 7?
No,
782?
yeah. What are your thoughts on the Marshall SC20 and the SV20? No master on the SV, which is more versatile. Think Page to McCready, maybe Cantrell 2. Will pair with my 68 Deluxe Reverb reissue. Thanks, mates. I don't know it.
Oh, they're the minis.
Oh, the little ones.
Yeah.
Okay, my brother has the Plexi one.
So SC is the JCM,
Right.
and what's the other one? SV must be the the Plexi one.
Right.
Yes. We haven't played them, and we really should.
Yeah.
So it's a 20-watt JCM 800 and a 20-watt Plexi.
Yeah.
In the new.
And I mean, I haven't played them. I do know that Lee Malia has got the little JCM 800 version.
Yeah.
Says it sounds great. And my brother's got the Plexi one and loves it.
Yeah.
So they're really cool. So which I reckon, well, Plexi in the reissue, and the Deluxe Reverb reissue, surely.
Yeah. So Hetfield 7782 is saying there's no master on the Plexi one. Obviously, to me that's only ever a good thing.
Yeah.
But doesn't really help if you can't turn it up, because I suspect they're pretty loud. One of my favourite amps ever from Marshall is the 2061, which is the 20-watt head with solid state rectification version-ish of the 1974. It's a 20-watt PA, I think it was.
Oh wow.
Just with the 4 controls on the front.
Yes. I've got a similar thing.
That if it sounds anything like that at all, what a great amp.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
We should acquire one of those.
So I've got my little 18-watt Mallard,
Yeah.
and that thing is awesome.
That's a valve rectifier though, isn't it?
That is a valve rectifier.
Yeah, see, my problem with that and the 1974X is that they just squash out too quickly.
Okay.
Whereas the solid state rectifier, headroom.
I'll put a little solid state thing in the valve plate. A little solid state rectifier. Let's see
Try
what
it.
that does. There you go. There's a tweaky show. Solid
Yeah.
state versus valve rectifiers.
Page to McCready and maybe Cantrell 2, says Hetfield 7782. Yeah, well, there's 3 giants of tone right there.
Alistair Tweedy. Dan, any plans to do a smaller version of the G2 in future? Man, I'm always working on stuff. Who knows?
Hey guys, says Aaron Nessie. Why am I getting a volume boost when turning on my Strymon Flint?
Taylor.
It's got secondary functions.
Yes.
check the manual. You might find that one of the secondary functions is a volume boost. Is my best guess. I don't know if it goes below Unity, does it, the Flint?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's a boost. I think it's a
Yeah. All of those Strymon double pedals have secondary functions. So just check that it's not that. It might be that.
Chris James says, would you be willing to listen to random songs briefly and make your best guess in terms of guitars, amps, and pedals? It could be like a game. Possibly. The issue with that, I got a friend, Paul Stacey, who's amazing at that. He's a really great engineer and has recorded most things. And when you're hearing things in a track, it's not necessarily a fantastic representation of what they're like in a room. So it might be, but it could be fun. It's, it's hard to play tunes on the show because, we get copyright issues.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah, so tell you what, we'll do it down the pub and we'll let you know how we go.
Ray Clenshaw, we missed your super chat. Apologies for that. You were asking about the Boss RE20 Space Echo. Well, interestingly enough, on Wednesday we're filming a show that's about multi-head tape echoes. So Dan's got the RE201, as you know. We've also got the Echo Fix version of it. We've called in an RE20 from Boss, who they very kindly sent us one, and we'll be doing the Strymon Volante. So all of those multi-head echoes in one show, so the answer will be there. Yep.
Fun.
Yep. Now we missed another one here.
Jim says, how massive are Dan's knees? They're it's the optical illusion because they're closer to the camera.
Kleber G Music says, hi guys, Tom Bukovac mentioned he would love to do an interview with you.
Yes.
You should start planning. We are starting to plan, and BV is helping us with that as well. Nick Osborne, ever tried a Barber Limited? I'm struggling to use it with my Fender Blues Junior. I have tried one.
Barber Limited Drive.
Years ago, can't really remember it.
Yeah, no, they're great.
It's a JFET thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So Barber were one of the first people to do a compressor with a parallel blend.
Yeah.
And
tone squeeze.
Yeah, the tone press. But they're great. It's so interesting pairing pedals with specific amplifiers.
Yeah.
I've struggled for a long time to get an overdrive pedal to really work with the AC30 until I found the hotcake. And so just, sometimes these amps have got a very specific tonal quality and you do need to search for pedals that will work with them.
The Blues Junior is hard work with overdrive pedals.
Right.
Because it has such a specific mid-range thing going on.
Yeah.
But maybe just the Barber's just in the wrong place for it. Just trying to think what else you could try that would really work.
Oh, you know what? I reckon a light speed.
Yeah.
Sort
yeah,
of,
something that's not too mid-pushed.
Yeah. Light speed, anything blues breaker bass, sort of flatter. Anything that's going to give it a mid-push is too much. It's too much.
Diatonic Dude says, you're going to need MIDI when you review the Chase Bliss Automaton Preamp Mark II.
Funny you say that.
We're shooting that video on Wednesday as well. We're going to do the Chase Bliss Automaton. I can't say the word.
Automaton.
Automaton 2. We're going to do the Joey Landreth Jackson Audio Golden Boy, and we're going to do the Boss OD 200 because we feel that they share a controllable via MIDI thing.
Joey Landreth has just popped on and says, "Hey boys,
Joey, how are you?
Hello, buddy.
Let's honk you.
Yes.
Happy birthday in the week, Joey.
Happy year, mate. It was awesome.
We've got the Golden Boy. Thank you for sending
I've
that.
actually FaceTimed Joey since his birthday.
Oh, nice.
Had a lovely chat to him. He's looking resplendent.
Is he?
Yes. Yes, got the Golden Boy. Your demo looked great.
And sounded great.
Sorry, that's what I meant. It looked great too. Yeah, sounds incredible. What's the guitar that Joe's using?
Sorokin.
That thing. Every time I hear it, we did this. Joey and Andy Timmons played on this thing with Mick and I a few weeks ago on this jam. And every time I hear Joey play that guitar, it just has everything. It's got the that clarity and the bite, but it's fat and vocal. It's just magnificent, magnificent steed.
It really is. And I think that whole kind of, we were talking about it earlier, you know, when you find a guitar that you just connect with.
Yeah, that's lovely.
I'm looking for Kyle Milbrandt's question because we've missed it and I'm trying to find it. And I'm sorry we've missed you, Kyle. We get so many questions, which I'm struggling to find.
We've got one here. Mick, did you ever swap out your stock 2 Rock speakers in your 2x12 cab? Just wondering if you found something you like better with a classic reverb.
No, when I first got that cab, is that from Kyle?
BV Ninja has reposted this M&D Mist super chat from Ryan Andrew Mayer.
Ryan, hi Ryan. When I first got the cab and the 2 Rock, I thought it sounded a bit bright for my liking. As time went on, and I got the 112 cab and I put in the WGS12L, which is like an EV type, which is definitely smoother sounding, and I liked it more. But I never had it in a 212, so I couldn't really compare. As time's gone on, the amp and the cab have both bedded into a place where they are just magical at the moment, to the point where I want to get the 2 Rock speaker for the 112.
I wish you all could hear it. I wish you all could be in this room and experience that amplifier. I genuinely do.
And it's taken me this long to learn how to play it, honestly, to have the confidence to play it.
Yeah.
You know, I look back at the first video I made with it, I'm like, wow, you're just tickling that thing. You're not, you've missed 80% of what it does.
Yeah, right.
And that's, I guess that's the great thing about engaging with gear, isn't it? You get to know it and you get more confident with it. But no, to answer your question directly, I really, really love those speakers and the cabinet and the way it acts with the amp. And this is all part of a journey. We talked about it a few times, and everyone's different, right? But for me personally, I'm moving away from that strongly mid-focused tube screamery thing. And I'm just starting to really enjoy slightly more broken, less smooth, more trebly and slightly more aggressive overdrive sounds. And by aggressive, I don't mean modern metal. It's the absolute opposite of that.
Yeah.
It's aggressive in it's rough around the edges and bitey and trebly and kind of borderline unpleasant, and I'm loving that.
Yeah.
And the combination of that 2 Rock when it's open and the cab just brings it perfectly. Sorry for the long answer.
Yeah.
I think about it a lot.
Let's see. So from BV, it said, Dan, FM at the lights. You ever played a custom Defender 50? And could I use a humdinger to have drives in one amp and mods and delays in another? Or can I not put pedals in each output? You totally can put pedals in each output. You just need to make sure that your power supply is isolated. So in other words, if you can have a humdinger and split them, right? You've got one is your earth going to your amplifier, and that's your ground. And the isolated one goes to your second amplifier, and that is isolated, so you don't get any earth loops. Now, you can put different pedals on those two signal lines, but if you use like a daisy chain, then you're connecting the earth back again, and then you're losing that isolation. So you absolutely can put other pedals after that, but you need to make sure that the power supply is isolated, and that will get you sorted.
There you go.
There you go.
Joe James, have you found an amp that pairs with the Celestion Alnico Cream? What's your favourite speaker with the Vintage Deluxe Reverb clone? Biffy used the Alnico Cream in one of their speaker cabinets.
Yes, they
in the
did.
ISO box.
They had their Fender, the massive
Yeah.
100-watt Fender thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You used it in something, didn't you?
Yeah, it's really cool. I think I cannot get away from the blue as far as like a single, like I'm using that to record at the moment, and just everything I put into that, man, it just sounds so good. I don't know, there's a clarity and there's a pureness to it that's great. Amplifier that's going to push that thing, because they're 100 watts or
100
something.
watt Alnico speaker,
Man,
yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
yeah. I find with a speaker like that, if it's just tickling it, if you've got like an EV 12M. Those things, they're so
12L is the more common
12L,
one.
right?
Yeah.
They're so efficient that they'll sound the same, quiet or loud. But the thing, those creamback things is, if they're not being, if you're just tickling them, they do sound different than if they're working hard. Whereas because none of my amps are like crazy loud, so with the blue or the blue pair with something else, there's always even when it's just being tickled, there's always enough current going through it to give it some love and make it sound great. But yeah, that thing pushed sounds absolutely incredible. A friend of mine was using one in a Dumble type amplifier,
Okay.
and it sounded great.
Yeah. Banjo75, greetings from Liverpool. Hello. Are you
Hello.
guys still coming to the Cavern Club? Yes, we are, in September with Andy Timmins. There's no reason to think that's not going to happen at this point. So we have great hopes. Great hopes.
Right. That's 2 hours, Mick.
Is it?
That's 2 hours.
Wow. Wow. Marcus Reeves, who likes the Weber Alnico. Marcus, hello. We are going to be
Yes.
featuring some of Marcus's pedals in a show in a couple of weeks' time. Marcus makes really amazing,
Very, very special.
point-to-point hand-wired pedals. Marcus Reeves Audio. Check him out.
Reeves Electro.
Reeves Electro. Nice that you could join us, Marcus.
Yes, man.
And yeah, I can feel it.
So good. So good.
Right. Let us call this to a close then, Dan.
Yes, I think so. Okay. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Means the world that you come and hang out with us on a Monday. It's great. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Be good to each other. We're sending you all the love in the world. And yeah, thank you for hanging out.
Very much so. All right, see you on
All
Friday.
right. Cheers, guys.
See you,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.
Oh, and thank you, BV. Thank you, mate.
Oh, yeah. Big thanks to BV.